Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast, Supercoach edition, round 21. Goodness me, I keep saying it, but this year is flying. To think we're already at round 21 is just insane. And the weeks in Supercoach are just quickly dwindling. It's finals time in head-to-head before we know it in draft, everything. So it's a very busy time when we talk Supercoach. And then to add into that, the list of injuries, basically suspension, some of the big names that are back now, but the matchups aren't great. Like, there is so much that we could potentially talk about tonight. Plenty of talking points. A big talking about basically is just what we're going to do, what everyone out there is going to do. So there's a lot to talk about. Shout out to our major sponsor, the Caxton Street Brewing Co. And also to Con over at Freedom Finance Group. Make sure you get in contact with him if you need any sort of financial advice. The best in the business, that is for sure. Well, what a week, mate. What a week, boys, I should be saying, because I think we all got green arrows. First of all, I will go to Trav. Mate, how are you feeling, firstly? I know it's been a very shitty week. Excuse my French, but it must be said. How's things?
Oh man, it's horrible. Hey, this is everyone, all the memes and everything out there about people with the man flu. Well, yeah, that's me. Except I've actually got it 100 times worse. It's horrible. I've been bedridden, struggled to sit up properly. Yeah, it's been horrible. But I want to get on the pod. I can't miss 2 weeks in a row. That's just unacceptable. And then listening to some of Jesse's rubbish last week, I couldn't let him go again.
Doing the hard carries.
So I just got to come in and carry you again.
Yeah,
but that's okay. But I'll be honest. You've thrown it to me, and I appreciate that. But I'm going to turn it back to you, Joel, because I think this needs to be the number one talking point for this between the three of us around where you're sitting. So maybe can I actually ask you to let everyone know how you went on the weekend and where you're sitting? Because I think that's a mark for a bit of celebration.
Yeah, look, I've entered into, I got 1,450 on the weekend, which was apparently the 465th highest score of the round. So pretty insane stuff when you're seeing those sorts of numbers. So, of course, that meant green. I went into that round, I think, about 1,500-ish, and then I went up 826 spots. So that's a pretty big jump when you're down in that section, and it's got me into the top 1K, so 738 now. First time I've ever been in the top K. I think last week was my highest rank. Now I've just doubled down. So really excited. Total score for those at home trying to compare things like that, 25,321. Won every single league that I was part of, which was awesome. Yeah, it was a great week, to be honest with you. A really great week that, yeah, just the captaincy of Edwards went my way. I did even sit Hosking and Stewart, which was just sitting there on my bench, didn't even play him. And I luckily got away from Nakora. I decided not to play him last week, so I got very lucky with that call. So a couple of little things I did get right. I think you need a bit of luck in this game to get to those spots. We've all three of us have pretty similar teams now. So just all it takes is that one or two different moves and it pays off, then you can see some differences. So, yeah, very wrapped with the weekend, to be honest.
Did you make any trades?
Yes, I did. What did I make? I don't even know. Jesse, what did I make last week? Do you remember?
You got Edwards in.
That's right.
Can't remember who you binned, but you had Lomax, I think, sitting in your flex, and you brought him up. Brought Edwards in and captained him. I don't know if you did another trade or not, though. I can't recall.
No, I think I only did the one, and it was for a center wing. I just cannot remember right now who that center wing was that I had. Didn't really bother me because I didn't miss him.
There you go.
I can't remember, but it was one trade, and I got Edwards in. Absolutely. I'm trying to think back who the injuries were because it would have been injury. I think it was Luke. No, I got rid of Lucas the week before that. I can't remember.
Rid of Pap beforehand, so it was either Pap or Lucas, one of the two, something along the lines. But yeah, great trade. Edwards was good for all of us.
Trade, huge score. Well done, and well done on the top 1K.
Huge, really good.
Perfect.
What about
Um,
yourself, Trav?
yeah, go back to
Yeah.
Trav.
So, 1373, pretty happy with that. It's now pushed me up into the top 5K. I'm 4,931. I had a 2,237 rank green arrow. So, yeah, pretty stoked. I won 7 of my 8 leagues. I missed one, and I lost to to one Jesse by 10 points, which he'll talk about in a minute. I went into the weekend not wanting to trade.
Excuse him while he has
I,
a coughing attack.
I went into the weekend not wanting to make a trade. I was ready to hold, and but I said unto the legend and was pretty honest with him and said, I'm not going to trade. My only one that I want to do is Edwards. And I was going to, and to do that, I needed to trade Lucas out, bring in Edwards, and push Lomax up because Lomax was in my flex, has been for a couple of weeks. And to be fair, I've actually used the flex like that almost all year, which is, and I've loved that sort of change to be able to play with. But and so yeah, I brought in Edwards for that, and I said to the legends, I wouldn't bring Edwards in unless I heard that Edwards was kicking. And just before the game, I heard Edwards was kicking, and I just went straight, just clicked the button, bang, and come 170 odd points. So yeah, it was brilliant. And I captained him. I didn't VC him. I captained him and just wrote it and loved it. 1,373.
Juju.
Yeah, that's it. That's the juju that Jesse talks about. That guy that loves feng shui and all sorts of that nice Chinese words and things that he does.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff. I was tossing up around my reserves, and I'm a little bit annoyed because I was actually going to sit Kula Matangi on the weekend, and play Strange, and I didn't because Jesse turned around and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And so I put it on Kula Matangi and missed out on Strange's play. So that cost me 40 points. I was never going to play Stewart as on 103. It's just one of those ones, like, awesome, well done. You just grin and bear it. Like, I was never going to play him, but yeah, so could have had extra little 40 points, but yeah, it is what it is. Pretty happy.
I just realized as well, I got rid of Hopper last week. That was my trade out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had a chat about that. That worked out all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It did. Comparing him to Edwards, it certainly did.
Exactly. I don't even know
what did
he
you go,
scored.
Jesse?
So I ended on 1383. So I did beat Trav by 10, and I did play both of you in a head-to-head. I lost to Joel, and I beat Trav, and it was funny actually looking at those head-to-heads. We only had 3 differences each. Our teams were near identical outside of 3 individual players. So my 3 beat Trav's by 10, and yours beat me by 70. So pretty good going. But either way, I scored, the 1383. It put me up to 1220. So I had a 719 rank jump, which is good. So getting close to that 1K again. I won 5 out of 6 of my head-to-heads, which was obviously the one that Joel beat me on. I did 2 trades last week. I traded out, but I bought Edwards in, and I traded out Burton. Actually, I moved Burton out, and I put Purdue into my 5/8 slot. So I had that room in my flex with Mark Nawanganitawasi sitting in there from the week prior. So I moved him up, and I couldn't afford that in one move, and it was one that I was planning on doing anyway. I traded out Riley Smith for Kalani Going. I just nuffed out my second hooker spot and took 230 odd K out of that move. So it basically geared me up for this week with the trades that I wanted to do. And then obviously going into the round, had a plan for what I wanted to do. And then everything sort of went to shit very quickly with the injuries that we got. So, the plans had to change. But the players coming in were no different. It's just the players going out were forced. So there wasn't too big of an issue. But I still need the coin anyway. So I'm glad that I did that move. But yeah, I did the same. I captained Edwards. Didn't actually watch any of those games too, so I was just checking my phone on, I think it was a Friday night.
Shock.
Yeah, normally I watching some here and there, but I was busy. I had friends over, and I was watching the scores, and I had a look at halftime for an 80 something. I was like, oh Jesus, this is massive. And then I just checked it again after the game was well and truly finished, and I was like, oh my God, 170. That's as good as you can really get this year. So I was stoked I finally got a good captain, and it got me some actual good green. Almost, cut my rank in half, which was nice. So Yeah, finally a good one.
Love you. Shout out Edwards. We love you. So
How good.
long live the king, Dylan Edwards.
That's it.
2025 Supercoach. Shout out to the overall League of Inches winner at the moment. Shout out to Pack Lords as well, sponsor of the draft side of things. Daniel 191.58 is still out in front. He still hasn't messaged the page to let us know what that means, that team name, but I really hope I'm not going to go to the slammer after reading this out 3 weeks in a row. Overall rank is now 6. He actually went up 7 spots, so he's having a great year in the top 6 now overall in Supercoach. So incredible scoring from him. Top of the class was Jason Clean McLean's 1,522. Wow, I was in the top 15 this week of my own competition. Look out. Let's just make sure, Jason, make sure you reach out to the page, get yourselves a couple of coolers, as well as that Pack Lords break credit. Just simply message us Instagram, Facebook, however you wish to do so. Let's get into some talking points. We're not doing TLT for the rest of the year, guys. I'm just going to let you all know now so you don't hold out for it. You're going to be able to hear and watch and see all your key news by the time if you've already listened to this anyway. So Jesse just ramble on for way too long when we do team lists, so we're getting away from it. He got in trouble last week, so we've got to just keep going now. But to be honest with you, on a serious side, there's no real need anymore. There's only a big few changes, but it'll probably be more of a talking point. We'll get to those moving forward. I think it makes for a more interesting show that you guys would be much more keen to listen to, not just the same thing that 3-4 other podcasts will cover on the same day and things like that. So, Jesse, I'll throw to you. Get us kicked off with the talking points. I think it's talking point, really, because this one's going to open up, I think, to multiple universes.
Yeah, look, I did want to have a chat about, obviously, the main elephant in the room is the injuries, the lack of trades, the lack of forwards we've now got. I think most people they're maybe sitting on Lucas waiting for Haas, and then all of a sudden we lost Keon Kolomatangi's gone for the season. Tino's now just been ruled out for 4 weeks. Nakora is out this week. Just you name it, hey, like you pick a forward that we've been relying on, or a couple of little cheeky pods here and there, and they're all gone out of nowhere. And we're looking at the options that we have, and it's like fire. No one's really lighting the world on fire at the moment. And the thing is, you don't have a choice. Like you've got to get someone in. So that's going to be the main one. But just on the side note, we all kind of went through this last week, and I think a lot of coaches are probably going to go through the same at this point of the season now to the end. It's the sit and starts. It's been sort of on the back of us for the entire season, 21 weeks, 20 weeks so far. Always feels like we're going to get them wrong. Every single week we look at our reserve options and we just go far out. I picked the worst 4, or one guy was the best out of the lot. And I think you're going to start to see that happen a lot more often now. And people relying on these sit and starts. And it was one of those things last week too, where there was a couple of really key, good-looking matchups. And I'll use the Raiders and Eels as a prime example. Well, the Eels are rubbish, and the Raiders are top of the ladder. And I think in all of our no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're not doing well, and it's like polar opposite battle. And I think when I looked at all 3 of our sides, we sat a lot of Raiders. I did. I sat all of my Raiders, and I was sort of in the battles too. I was wondering like, who do I sit to play these guys? And I looked at Keon against the Panthers, and I thought, yeah, it makes sense. It's logical to sit him against this matchup. For a more favorable matchup to someone who's averaging less. And then you kind of get stuck in the mindset of, well, these guys are averaging good and they're guns. Surely they can just do it against anyone. And that's a very fair point. And I think you kind of have to go off that more often than not. The Jed Stewart thing, I don't think anyone, if they had options, was playing him anyway. But the Zach Hosking play was one that I spoke to a few people about. I think both of you included. I was like, I feel like you really got to play this guy against the Eels. Didn't. And it cost 100 points. It cost whatever the difference was. To me, the options was Tino or Hosking, and it cost 80 points. So quite substantial, when it comes to your overall. So I think the way to sort of go about it, I don't know, I'll have to try and work it out with a full side. At the moment, the depth is really thin for this week. But it's more just looking at where the matchup is. Everyone's got guns now. Everyone's got depth and options and players, and you can probably put out 22 starters. But you're going to be sitting a few of those. And I'm just honestly, I'm going to be looking at that point, and you might be the same or different, or just play the big average guys. I'm just going to hit the good matchups. And if you come to sitting guns, like if it came last week and we we're sitting Keon, I was considering sitting Garrick against Melbourne to play Hosking. You know what I mean? Things like that. I just don't think you should really be afraid of it. The difference of it really, you're probably going to be within 20 to 30 points anyway with the quality of some of these guys. But it's like, yeah, we're just getting to that business end of the season. Players are going to get rested. Matchups are a bit different now. Defenses are lacking a lot more. Attacking sides are really getting, well, like really running away with it more. And I'm just honestly, I think it's probably just a good idea to start favouring, the attacking matchup more so than the high average for the season on certain players. So it was just something that I was thinking about anyway. You can have a point
Yeah.
if you wanted to chime in, but
Yeah, I will. I'll chime in. And what I'll do is I'll plug a post that gets posted weekly on our League of Inches. I was going to abbreviate it, trying to stop words, and I've ended up saying 4 times more than I freaking wanted to. But on our League of Inches Legends page, it's a weekly Supercoach stat breakdown, and that is the perfect graphic to help you for your Sit B starts, Jesse. It's incredibly easy to talk about and understand. It's broken it down from all teams. It's color coded. It's got average points. I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to say all the details because you need to pay for it to get on there. And Joel, how much is it to join? Because there's only 2 months left of the league.
$2.99 per month, and I'll tell you right now, for those super coaches that are in the thick of it, it could just be simply a very competitive head-to-head competition that's now gearing to finals, or you're up in the overalls and things like that. You want to beat your mates, or you just want to try and win some prizes and get into that top 1K, top 10, whatever it is. Make sure you go onto it because, like you're saying, Trav, that is thanks to Josh out there as well, who looks after that side of content for us. It is making a huge difference to those that get to look at it. And I feel like it's going to be a massive key element to those in the run home.
Yeah, and look, we hadn't discussed this at all, and I wasn't coming on here to plug that at all, but I think it's an ample opportunity to talk about it because you bring it up, Jesse, and you're questioning, and the question of, well, how do I decide? Well, here it is, right? And it literally tells you what you can do. So there's one page that's the overall deep dive. So it talks about average points scored against the teams, points conceded, and strength of schedule. Then it drops it down into side analysis. So it breaks it down so far into that what's the left-sided defense like and the average scores against them. So who plays on the left side, center wing, 2RF and Haas playing, middle defense, and then right-sided defense. And then the last one is left-sided attack, middle attack, and right-sided attack. It's broken it down so well that it's like any numpty can read this and you'll be able to understand it. It is fantastic. I have certainly used it the last few weeks. It's definitely helped me to get to the top 5K. I think it's going to continue to keep helping me rise. I'm not going to win it, but I can certainly get very high. And there, to me, I think it's a no-brainer there, Jesse. And I'm not sure if you want to sort of break into it a little bit more to help with your Sit V starts for this weekend. But that's a really good start.
Well, my Sit V starts this weekend. I've only got 18 players, so I don't have to worry too much about the options to choose from. But again, Josh's graphics on the Legends page are fantastic. I've been looking at them for weeks and weeks, and always give it a heart react because it's so in depth and it's so easy to read too. And it even tells you down the bottom with the little legend. It's just like play left-sided center wings and left wingers and left side halfbacks against teams in the red. You know what I mean? It's just like you couldn't lay it out any easier. So yeah, for $2.99, honestly, I think for that kind of content that Josh is putting up in that page specifically, it's just worth it alone, just for that individual thing. So, but to the main point, it genuinely is, yeah. But
so I think here I'll give a couple. So the left-sided attack this weekend has a green, and look, it's only going to. I'm not going to go all the way through it, but so left-sided attack this weekend. The so the target to teams with a green is how to read this. Broncos up the top on the left side attack, so they're in the green. So basically, that's a targeted team. So that's who you should be starting, right? bring in players from the green teams. So it's either so that's who you're trading, or that's who you should be picking as a reserve. In the middle attack, the top rated team for the middle attack this weekend is the Sharks, top rated. Okay. And on the right side of the attack this weekend, it's the Sharks. So what it's telling you is that this is who you should be targeting. But who do the Sharks play this weekend?
They are playing. I'm not actually. I'm captaining Nico. So the Sharks have got the Souths. Yeah,
they've got the Rabbitohs. So now here to give you even better, just to talk about that, the Rabbitohs have the worst left-sided defense in the competition, the worst middle-sided defense, middle defense in the competition, and the third worst right-sided defense in the competition. So what it's essentially saying is pick the freaking Sharks because they're playing against the worst defense in the competition and they've got the best attack, according to Supercoach stats. So there's a way to read that, but that's just a small graphic. And look, it's probably not the best matchup, but I mean, it helps.
Yep, no, for sure. It just means that worst middle, bloody hell, Brayley's going to continue doing what he's doing. It seems.
Scary.
Talking about the trade ins and outs and the issues that we've got this week, I'll go into the trades, and a lot of it's going to be around the three, the main heavily owned forwards between Keon, obviously ruled out for the season with that ankle injury. You've got Lucas, who was ruled out last week or the week before for the season. Many still have him. And Tino is ruled out for 4 weeks, so 3 to 4 weeks. I'm a little less keen on a Tino trade at the moment, depending on how many trades you've got left and how things look in limited. Again, he's going to be back this season, so he could be very well worth a hold. But really, Keon and Lucas are the main two that have to go. And there's a lot of key ins this week. So obviously, Cleary's named again, so he's back into the swing of it. The Broncos are off the bye, so Payne Haas has come back into it. Hudson Young doesn't really seem to look very injury affected at all, so he's probably at the top of the list. Blake Rayleigh obviously doing massive things in that hooker position. So yeah, there's a lot going on this week, and there's a lot of people that are trading these guys out. So just in the top 10% alone, nearly 40% are traded out Keon, and 100% rightly so. He's got to be the first one to leave. And Lucas too, 637 and 625 between them. So, almost 1.3K, bit over 1.2. That's a fair bit of coin to spend, especially when people are trying to, rebuild their forward pack. You've got a lot of options. So I think the main and clear obvious one to get as a direct replacement, Payne Haas. I don't think there's too much to really read into the room and, kind of outthink and pod this kind of person. I think everyone's just got to get back onto Payne Haas now that he's available again. He's currently the second most traded in player, Haas, in the top 10, top 10%. So is that you both go in that direction as well, getting Haas back in?
I got a problem. I don't know if I should raise it now, but for me to get to Payne Haas, I need to do it in 2 trades. I can't do it in 1 anymore. So it means I would end up after this week going to 2 trades. So I just don't know what. At the moment, I haven't made my mind up. There is a way I can go, and I can do it via going a pod that we spoke about last week, Jesse, which I do have my eye on. I definitely think I want Payne Haas. I think he will play. He'll play great minutes now in the run home. They need to finish as high up on the ladder as possible. They still have a sniff of a top 4 finish, so I think they'll be going hard. I want to answer your question, I want Payne Haas, but I've got to think about how to do it.
Yep. No, that's fair. I just think, for yourself, obviously, you have to make the 2, but for the vast majority of super coaches in the world listening, I feel like, you've got to find a way for it. It's just very hard to kind of go against him, with the numbers he's been putting out. The only person really rivaling him in that position is Terrell May, and, he's basically 100% owned across the board. So, you can go pod him, you can go someone cheaper, but you're probably doing yourself out of, probably 20 points, give or take, at a minimum almost. Trav, anything to say on Haas and that trade at all?
Yeah. So, hey, just remind me, Payne Haas is
727K.
Yeah. Okay. So, Payne Haas plays Para this weekend, the Rabbitohs, next weekend. Then he's got the Storm, which defensively is not a juggernaut like we're used to. It is in Melbourne, though, so it'll be interesting to see. Then he plays the Dolphins. Then he's got the Knights. Then he's got the Cowboys. And then he's got the last game again against the Storm at Suncorp. Every one of those Broncos games is meaningful. They are fighting for a position. They are within the reach of top 4. So they have to play their best team each week. Give me a piece of Haas for at least the next 2 weeks against Para and against the Rabbitohs in 2 teams that are injury depleted. And then according to our stats, are 2 of the worst defenses in the competition for Supercoach point of view. And Haas is the number 1 no-brainer. I actually don't think there is and has been a more no-brainer trade all year than bringing in Haas this weekend.
Yeah. I think so as well. And it's almost like, I had plans to get Haas in from a different route with Jules and moving out center wings and this kind of stuff. And now it's like, honestly, it's just fallen in our lap. Keon trade out, anyone else that has a couple of multiple second rowers that they need to fund. If you can't do it in 2, you've got 2 players to trade out. Like, I think it's just use them. You've been given a gift to get Haas back with a forward you didn't want to lose, admittedly, but you have. This is the opportunity to get back on him. So I think that's the obvious one. As far as another alternative goes, you look at the trade-ins. Just 10%. Hudson Young is the third option. So obviously the Raiders have a bye to come still. They're playing Newcastle, who actually haven't been that good to second row forwards defensively. They're ranked 15th out of 17 this year to second rowers. And we all know that the Raiders definitely attack through their edges more than anything else. Between Hosking and Young, they're their prime focal points in attack. So Hudson Young, he's 10K cheaper than Haas. When it comes to the break even of 116, it's like, you know what? There's a good chance you could probably just get that anyway. And I think at this time of the year, break evens are less relevant than anything else. You just kind of got to maximize points. Replacing Keon, replacing Lucas, replacing Tino, any of those sort of things this week. They're a premium. You need to replace them with a premium. So, look, I think the Hudson trade-in is fantastic if you're going to go about it that route. Joel, you got Hudson in last week. Didn't really do a great deal, but still scored 65. So you got to be pretty happy with that.
Oh, that's the thing. Didn't even get a try. Didn't look too threatening, and everything just went away from him for the first time in the Raiders season. Has to be the week that I got him in. But yeah, I looked at the score. I was thinking, goodness me, I'll trade him in on a 30 week or something stupid. But yeah, to get 65, I was actually pretty wrapped with that.
Yeah, 100%. Would you be going that direction over Haas if the option was falling in your lap this week?
No, not because of the buy. The buy, if you had to choose between both of them, paying it, Haas gets that one extra week, and we're all still playing overall as well, so that would hurt. I mean, you can cover it these days, and I think everyone's pretty stacked. This week's a different story as how everything's fallen, but yeah, no, I would be probably prioritizing Haas over Hudson Young this week.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think everyone's as stacked in the forwards as we were a week ago.
Not anymore.
We're dealing with Lucas. Well, most have kept him because they, as Jesse said rightfully, that they were wanting to trade him to Haas. Kulawatangi this weekend was very highly owned, and he's gone for the year. And Tino's basically with a 4-weeker. So our depth in the 2RF has depleted. I like Hudson Young. I've said he's the most underrated player. I've done a few posts about him. I've spoken to the nth degree on this. I'm a very big fan of it. But if I'm going to bring the two between the two, I'm bringing in Haas, and I'm not even going to think about that. I also think that because of the bye, but I also think that, and from what I saw on the weekend, and I know that like the Raiders ran away with it in the second half, but it was only in the second half that the Eels were on top at halftime. I think it was like 16-12 or something at halftime. I think Hudson Young with it's osteitis pubis, isn't it? He's got a groin injury. So That's a really prime injury for, all right, if I've got 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes that I can sit him out for it, that little bit extra, he's going to be the first one that's going to get that. And I think the Raiders are going to blow some teams off the park the rest this year. I also think he's probably due for, even though there is a bye, he probably ends up resting and sitting a game, because I think they've locked top. They're going to lock top spot away. They'll lock it up in the next couple of weeks. So I don't think he needs to play. So I would be picking that. And I've also got someone to go away. I actually wouldn't be suggesting Hudson Young this weekend, to be fair. I've got someone I'd rather pick.
Yeah. Another thing to consider as well with Young, obviously with that injury, it's gonna ride on him until the end of the season, until he has like a proper break. Matty Nicholson's not too far away either. He's been running in training. I've seen video probably a week or two ago. He's due back far out. Could be next week, could be the week after, sort of thing. So, and then you got to think he's due for a spot as well. So whether or not Young is the one that sits and gets a minute split, or it goes back to the Hosking side of things, there's just things around it. But either way, I still think Young's good. But if it's a week to get Haas over him more than anything else. A couple others on the forwards list as well for the most traded in the top 10. Obviously, all the trade outs are the exact same, so it's a bit irrelevant. But number 7, Patrick Carrigan, dual position, really nice price, 579k. Obviously, exactly the same draw as Haas. It's very, very good. Break even 64, so he's good chance he probably goes up this week. There's something about Carrigan this week that's really standing out to me. And I don't know exactly what it is. We didn't mention him last week in the pod side because his ownership is 14% overall. In the top 10%, it's significantly lower actually. As far as ownership goes for Patrick Carrigan, he is currently sitting on 6.2% of the top 10%, which is really nothing. Basically, it shows that everyone that owns him is outside the top 10% in significant numbers. In the run home for the Broncos, which we know they're going to have to be pushing for a massive top 4 spot, in a world where Haas potentially gets more rest than Carrigan does, he looks like, in my opinion, I reckon Carrigan's probably going to put out more than, not output-wise Supercoach points, but I just think minutes in game time and effort. I just think Carrigan's going to be expected to do quite a lot between now and the end of the year. And for a pod, if you want to get a duel as well, considering, Keon was a duel, Tino was a duel, he's probably my favourite in the duel side.
Oh, I've got someone else. I like Patrick Carrigan, and based off his price, he's probably fitting in my bracket and he's in my where I'm probably going to trade out. But if I had some money and a little bit more, I've got someone else I want to talk about. But yeah, I do like it.
Yeah, Joel, anything on Paddy?
I don't mind him. He's been moved to lock recently as well. He's gone back to that position.
Yep.
So that may help. It means that him and Payne used to do that thing where they used to swap basically weekly who would do the longest stint and things like that. So that may change that slightly. I've looked at all his scores and there's a lot of consistency and things like that, but it's just once he gets to basically 75, 79, it's sort of 75 it stops. Not the worst scores to be getting at all. Not trying to say that at all, but there's a few others I have looked at today to free up a bit of money to get to Payne Haas that I like over Paddy Carrigan, just from an upside point of view. A couple of those attacking guys that seem to be quite cheap at the moment, but all it takes is a couple of tries that they've been known to do in the past could change things.
Yeah, so just having a look at him, just between this year and last year, obviously split between prop and lock, which are the two main roles that he's been playing. 19 games at lock, 67 average, 11 games at prop, 70 average, with about 6 extra in base and power in prop. So his output is a bit higher when he's in the, front line. But, to get a 70 odd for 570k, it's still pretty good going.
Patrick Carrigan's just a hard worker. And those stats just purely prove that he has skill, but he's just an incredible worker and one of the hardest in the competition. I don't hate the pick. He's a good price too. But yeah, I think there are better. But he's in my range because of the price with what I've had to do. But yeah, there is a couple that I much prefer, and I don't use that term lightly.
I want to hear.
Yeah,
I'm
my
gonna throw it in you
favorite,
for you. Please.
my second favorite behind Haas is actually the big fella from the Warriors, Mr. Clark. I'm very high on him, and I think he's now locked. He's played more than 60 minutes the last 4 weeks, so he's locking that 60 minutes. We were starting to get worried that his minutes might start dropping, and I think I think that can be debunked. He's locked that away. The ball is in his hands all the time, and the draw that they've got, other than one team, the draw that they've got is delicious. Titans this week at home, Dolphins the week after at home, Bulldogs at a core. That's the one game. But we know that the Warriors, we know the Wars travel, and so that might be a really good thing. That'll be a really good game to get to. Then they got the Dragons at home, and they got the Titans again on Gold Coast, which is basically their home. Then they've got Para at home. Then they've got Manly. You tell me that that's not one of the best. And now, if you want me to go even further, I can deep dive into that. But the middle defenses on all of that. That's that deep dive into
Jesse.
our Legends group. That's deep dive into our Legends group, and it's telling me and it's screaming, pick the Warriors guys in the middle, and he's one of them, and I want him. I want Aaron Clark.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with Aaron Clark, because he's been freaking insane all year. Some people got him, obviously, I think it was round 11 when a lot of people traded off from Haas. I went the Tarpany route. I think you might have done something similar. Joel went the Aaron Clark route, like many others did. Much better trade overall. Just curiously, though, I kind of wanted to see, because I'm looking at Clark's numbers at the moment. Obviously, 15 games at lock, 72 average, 66 in base, 1.25 ppm, which is just madness. Because I just literally had Carrigan's stats up on the screen as I was looking at Clark's ones that came up, it's actually quite similar, especially at prop. Between the two, Clark's averaging 72 at prop, Carrigan 70, almost 71. Base and power for Clark 66, base and power for Carrigan 69. PPM, he plays slightly less minutes, but overall, very similar kind of players. But I think you just got to look at that
I'll
draw.
fight that. I'll somewhat fight that in the way of there's been different. These two have been very different careers.
Oh yeah, 100% they have.
So Aaron Clark has really only started doing this year. Patrick Carrigan's been doing this for years. So career-wise, you can't look at those numbers in terms of
well, that's this season.
And try
that's
to compare. Okay, so yeah, but either way, I just think that there's two different teams with two different schedules. And I know that I've spoken around the Broncos and their schedule, but I give me some of that Warriors schedule, particularly around some of that middle defense and their attack, and I'm all over that.
Yeah, I think really you're probably splitting hairs trying to work out who's going to score you 70 or 75 each week, to be honest. They're both a good option. I think, if you're looking at overall seasons and the fact that Carrigan's been doing it forever, that might give you a bit more confidence. But Aaron Clark's numbers are unknown at the moment. His ceiling's kind of uncapped, and he's ripping and tearing to a point where you kind of got to jump on board, because you don't know what he's going to do. You just know that it's going to be freaking good. The difference is 70K. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, would you take a 70K discount on Carrigan over Aaron Clark every other year? 100% you would. But this is a different Aaron Clark. So they're both fighting for a lot. They're both fighting for a top 4, essentially. So honestly, at that point in time, they're so apples and apples that you can basically get the same sort of thing for them. So for the 70K difference, if it helps, if it lets you get Haas or someone else in, I'd definitely consider it. Who else was it that you had that you were tossing up outside of Aaron? Because you said there was a couple on your list.
Yeah, my other favorite one, which is a little bit of an odd one in terms of where and how I've spoken all year about this guy and where I'm sitting at in the past, but is Viliami Kikau. So, and I get the last 2 weeks he's had 240s. I understand that those matchups against the Cowboys and the Dragons obviously scream out that it should have been better points. I think the Bulldogs' run going home is not great, but I think what that means is that the Bulldogs need to be very competitive. As the Roosters, Melbourne, Penrith, and the Sharks, that's not a great run to get home. But I think what that means is that the Bulldogs have to be really competitive. They need to be on their game and they need to dominate. And I think they've got to do that through their edges. And Kikau is one of those guys for them. And so I'm really high on what Kikau can do. I think he's going to cross for a few little meaties. And I actually think the Galvin being named where he's named to start actually is even better for Kikau. And whilst it didn't work out so much on the weekend for the Dragons, I think the Dragons had an absolute ripping game and really pushed the Bulldogs. To be fair, probably should have won that game. So I think that's a bit of an anomaly. But moving forward, I reckon Kikau is a really, really good option and my third favourite out of my 2 RF picks.
That's smoky as, to be fair, because I look at the Bulldogs run and I don't like it at all.
Yep.
I think things are changing for the Dogs. I know Galvin's come in and they scraped through a win in the last couple of seconds of a game that they, on paper should have whitewashed the Dragons, but obviously different Dragons turned up. We saw this happen last year to the Dogs. You know what I mean? Like they got this sort of fatigue at the end of the year. They fell off. They lost a couple games. They got knocked out straight into the finals. If they really want to be serious about their finals push and what they can actually achieve this year, which is, there's a chance they could win it all. They're going to need to end the season strong, and they just haven't been given a really nice end of season draw to get themselves in like momentum. I just feel like so. Yeah, it is a funny one. Kikau's been pretty good the last couple of weeks here. 48, 42, a 69 against the Broncos, a 66 against the Panthers, pretty decent. 109 against the South, and that was his biggest score all year. Outside of that, there's been 2 other 90s that he's hit. So it's been a good year for Kikau by his standard. For consistency, he's been hitting a lot more 60s and 30s like he usually does. But I just, I don't know if he's the guy that I'd be sort of chasing for high upside. You know what I mean? Especially coming up against Melbourne, Penrith, the Roosters, that kind of stuff. We saw earlier in the year. Well, he put 66 on Penrith. They haven't played Melbourne yet this season, so that's going to be a different one, especially at Amy Park. 70 against the Roosters, and they haven't played the Sharks either. So I suppose, could be anything, but Kikau's been very different this year. Anything on that, Joel? I saw you shaking your head a little bit.
I'll respect the gut play. I love,
Yeah.
I'm all about having those gut plays. And that's what Trav's feeling. That's what he's feeling. But it's not for me personally. I'm more on sort of what you're saying. I'm just not liking really what I'm seeing from the Bulldogs from an NRL point of view. That's sort of more where I base my Supercoach stuff off. It doesn't sit too well for me. I think there's a few other guys around that I like the look of a lot more than I do for Kikau. But again, it's a personal preference. We've all got him. I had that with Aaron Clark a while ago and it worked for me. So that one could work for Trav if he ends up doing it.
Yeah. Oh, look, if the Dogs are going to compete and they're going to perform and push themselves into finals, they're going to need Kikau to start, scoring tries like he was doing earlier in the season. Same as Preston. They're both drying up a little bit. A lot of the tries are sort of drying up for the Dogs in general. You saw Carraz get one, but it's been a fair few weeks since he's gotten over too. So I think Galvin will be a good improvement to the team overall, and I think they'll utilize him very well. It's just not a nice run to sort of Hail Mary your last trade into your second row for, in my opinion, personally anyway. But chase the upside, I guess.
Yeah, I'm at 4,900 rank. I want to find some gut plays. I want to find something that's a bit of that's quite pod. I'm looking for someone that's I'm looking for someone that's got tries in them, so decent scores in matchups. That whilst I get, we want to look for teams that have got your Paras and playing those sorts of teams and the Rabbitohs. I also want to look for value amongst teams that have got to really push hard and get through games and get stats and get the ball through hands and do that. And the Bulldogs are trying to fight for a finals. And if they keep going the way that they're going, they're not going to do much in the finals. So I think things have got to go through the hands of someone like a Kickow. And yeah, whilst I get exactly what you're saying, it's something in my head. I'm just trying to look for a couple of those guys that are a little bit out of the norm. It's either I'm going to push from 4,900 up to the top 2K, or I'm going to go to 10K. And to be fair, I couldn't give a shit with which one, if I'm at 10K, between where I'm at 10K and 4,900.
Love that.
If I can get to the end of the year and I can say, right, well, I made this move and it was shit and it bombed out, and that's why I got to 10K, I'll go, well, at least I made that crack and I had a go at it. And I Kickow's probably not going to be the one that I make this week, but I really like it, and I'm just tossing up what I do at the moment.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was like Joel's point last week, actually, with his pod. Jeremiah Nanai actually had a price drop now. He's 480K. There's a guy, obviously he didn't score that well. I think he scored in the 30s, but there's a dude that has that attacking upside. It's been scoring quite well. Dirt cheap. No one's getting him. So yeah, it's the time to really throw that ball now, I guess.
Another one to take a punt on is Yo. I don't know if either of you guys were going to talk about that, but he's another one that I wouldn't mind taking a punt.
Yeah, he was actually the next guy that I was going to bring up. He's number 8 most traded in the top 10%. So he's one after Carrigan. He's between actually in the 7, 8, 9, and 10 for the most traded in. We got Carrigan, Yo, Ola Kawatu, smoky one from today's team list, and Aaron Clark is the number 10. I think his ownership overall is quite high compared to those other 3. But yeah, no, Yo was the next guy that I was going to mention, dude. He's 536K. Obviously well rested now. Both him and Cleary coming off the rest from last week. Good run, Panthers. Yeah, look, if we're at this point of the season, even last year, the year before, we've just lost 3 of our main second rowers, and then a 500K Yo appears with the run that Penrith have. I think he's the most traded in player, comfortably. I think just at the moment, eyes aren't exactly on him. He's only been traded in by 3.5% so far in this list, so it's actually quite low numbers overall wise. But yeah, look, Yo could definitely go that direction. Is he someone that you've been considering this week for that kind of move, Trav?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. He's definitely in my cards for that trade. I've got a few, and I'll talk about it as I've said already, but I'll talk about it when we really specifically hone in on our trades. But he's definitely on the cards. He's got the history, the way we spoke about him in the off season, and this, which kind of played Joel's hand in making that trade and starting him. And at the start, after that first week, Jesse and I both just went, "Why the hell didn't we do it?" We wanted to do it, and then he kind of, I wouldn't say fell off a cliff, but he just was un-Yo-like. But to be fair, I think it was a massive off season for Yo with the Australian duties, all the awards that he made. He was the best. He was rated the best player in the world. Then he has to go to Vegas. That's a big trip. Has to return from that. Then he's gone and played Origin. He's just got rested. I actually reckon Yo's primed and ready for a massive end of the year, and I'm very keen to get around some of that. And this might be my way to finally own Yo for the first time in my Supercoach career.
Yep. Joel, is there anything that you wanted to say on Yo, considering you owned him? I'm just looking at some numbers, and I'm going to put some things together for us in a minute. So if you wanted to have a chat about him,
I'm not going there. He's just looked at too many of his scores this year, and it's not quite there. He's just been a bit un-Yo-like. Yo-yoing, that's for sure, but most of it's downwards. Not much upways with his movements. So I'm not going for Isaiah Yo. I definitely respect the player, though. We do know what he can do, and at that price, I just haven't seen enough at all this year to pin my hopes on Yo for the remainder of the year.
Okay, so while you were saying that, I just had a look. Yo obviously plays Origin. He plays it basically every minute of every game. And then he gets this rest after game 3. And I wanted to see what his return was like from his 21 onwards to the end of the season. It's bloody good in a short term. It's really bloody good. His best games.
I regret what I just said.
His best games for the whole year are post Origin 21 to 27 at a stretch. So Last year, from rounds 21 through to 27, he averaged 81.5 with a base and power of 68. So unbelievable numbers. The season before that, he averaged 73 with a base power of 58 from round 21 to 27. And the season before that, he averaged 72 in that same period. So if I was to just bin out all the numbers up until now, essentially for Yo, obviously with his 61 average compared to what he landed last year on with an 81 average, it's a pretty significant jump. So last year was a 71 on return in 21, 262s, an 86, a 102, a 122, and then a 66 in the last round. The year before that, came back in round 21, scored 91, 78, 80, 66, 75, a 52, and a 70. So again, different Penrith side, different form, different run altogether. They were leading well in point at that time. So yeah, but it just seems traditionally based off numbers, and like we always look at the numbers and the season prior and how people look in certain periods of the year because that's how we dictate trades. Look, you can't really deny it. Yo from round 21 onwards has his best run for the season, and it could be that push, that Penrith push they always go to. They turn it up a gear at the end of the season, roll into finals, and walk everyone. So yeah, for 530k for a budget Yo, yeah, I think he's going to be super underrated, and I think people are going to go a different route than him. And we could just look at this at the end of the season and go, we had a chance to get Yo for 500, and he went to average 80 for the rest of the year. So there's one that could be really good.
Hey, can you do something to humor me, please, Jesse?
I can.
Can you pull up his stats against Para last week? What did he last year? What did he get? How many points
against Parramatta?
Just against Parramatta. And this has got nothing. I'm not sticking this to you. I just want to laugh at something.
Okay.
Because this year he's got 240s against Para, and I'm just wondering if Para is a bit of his bogey team.
So last year he scored 62 against Para. That was the only time they played him. Not a great score.
So Para's his bogey team. So he's not going to score. He's not going to score shit for the rest of the year. Get on Isaiah Yo.
That's funny actually too.
He doesn't have to play Para again.
In 2023 when he, still he scored really well. He averaged basically 75. The two games that he played against Para, an 83 and a 52. So yeah, he doesn't really like Para, does he? Actually, you know what? I think they kind of give him a hard time. No, Penrith don't like Para. They always the Eels always give Penrith a hard time. It's just that.
He's only just a quick one for you two. We haven't spoken about him yet, but he's high on the trade-ins. Obviously, Nathan Cleary, is he on the radar of either of you two? For me, I actually don't think it's going to happen at the moment. So,
for me, he is on my radar. It's just I won't be doing it because I don't know how, and I can't.
Basically,
I've got other issues I've got to do, and I just can't get him in.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to get into Cleary after the whole forwards, the trade out thing, because that's kind of the, what we're all sort of dealing with at the moment. Getting Cleary in at this stage kind of feels like a luxury with the injuries and everything else that we've got going. But look, I was going to get him last week if he was named over Edwards. Obviously, he wasn't. I went with Edwards happily. If there was a choice between the two and everyone knew that Cleary was going to take the goal kicking back and all those other things, I would probably still say it's kind of hard. I'd probably still go Edwards, to be fair. I just think Edwards has the hot hand. Cleary's just been a bit patchy, but look, I can't knock a Cleary trade as much as I do often because it tends to be a pain in the ass with limited trades, but it's Nathan Cleary. You know what I mean? It's a hard one to go against, but at this stage, I'm not looking at getting him, and I don't think I will.
I think the big question mark is really it's 3 into 2, and it obviously doesn't quite work because the flex for mine I've got Edwards, so I'm back to the 3 fullbacks, which will not be changing for the rest of the year with Teddy and Drinky there as well, like a few of the Cowboys matchups coming up. Hines is just flying, so I don't think he's in the plans of anyone. Hughes has two of his key spine out this week. That normally means Hughes actually scores quite well from a Supercoach point of view. Then the week after, they got the Eels, which they'll probably put on a show against the Eels there, even though it's away. And then after that, the draw gets quite ugly for the Storm, but at the same time, if I was to trade to Cleary, they got one more game against the Knights, and then that gets a bit ugly for the Panthers as well. So it's a bit unfortunate how it is all happening. If I was to do the play, I'd probably trade Hughes to Cleary, but I'm not going to be doing that.
No, well, that's the thing. Like, you look at the draw for the Storm to end the year, and they end on, they got the Broncos, Panthers, Dogs, Roosters, and then Broncos. They're pretty much playing, like, in their next 7 games, they're playing like 3 teams over and over again. They play the Roosters twice, they play the Broncos twice. And then Para.
Who does the draw?
Panthers.
Fair income. That's a G up. That's
Yeah,
a
well,
joke.
look at in the beginning of the season, the first 6 weeks, the Roosters played Penrith and the Broncos twice each. I was like, how does that make sense at so early in the year? It's just ridiculous.
joke.
But if you, rewind to round 27 of 2024, when Melbourne ended the year playing the Broncos, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, we both had a really good time VCing Jerome Hughes that year.
Yes,
Yep.
we did.
He scored
Yeah.
180 or something. Oh, it was at least 160.
It was 187.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not particularly worried about end of season form. They played the Dolphins in round 25 last year. He scored 132 as well. So again, Dolphins were a bit more shot last season. They kind of fell off a cliff. But if there's going to be a few more restings between here and there for Melbourne, if Pap's going to be out longer, if Munster's going to rest, this and that, who
I think
knows?
there'll be restings.
There'll be no restings.
Probably not.
No,
quite sure.
the Storm have not played well. Other than the game against the Tigers, they've not played well all year. This is a different year. Last year, they locked up number 1 spot with 3 weeks to go, which is why they went and rested everyone against the Cowboys and then rested the other half against the Broncos as they led into finals. This is a different year. They're not playing well. There's no way. No way
There won't
Elliott will be giving everyone a rest.
No, there won't be restings. If anything, there'll be droppings, but there won't be restings.
Yeah,
that's fair. Still would have put you in a position to trade Hughes or Hines to Cleary? Honestly,
not right
probably
now.
not. Probably not. I've seen actually a lot of people.
Unless you got trades and no other
if
issues. If you've got trades and
if you got trades and you can play with it, 100%. It's easy to do because you can just capitalize off matchup and where the run gets good for them, which is Penrith is right now. So, but what I have seen and I don't like is a lot of people trading out Tedesco. Funnily enough, after a bad week, honestly, I've seen it quite a lot. Trade him, get off him. Make him a pod for the end of the year, please. It'd be well taken. But
to be fair, in the top 10%, it's only 464 coaches of the 16,000, so it's not much.
Yeah, I think it's all talk at the moment, and people are just trying to justify where to go. Perhaps, obviously, the guy that people are trading out, they're either going to run with the 3 fullbacks or the 3 halfbacks in that flex spot, and it's a bit of a head scratcher. And I don't think it's one that needs to be really done. I think you're getting really good point scoring output from Drinkwater, regardless of matchup most of the time. Tedesco's been the best scoring player in Supercoach for about 2 years, so I don't think there's too much to read into after a bad game.
Plus 5.
Hey,
plus 5 more years. It's been the best scoring Supercoach player in freaking
pretty much since Supercoach come out. Yeah, exactly. And then your halves are performing well. So it's like in a time where we're looking at 3 key outs in our forward pack, trying to scrounge together the last couple of pieces. Do you really need him? Do you really need Nathan Cleary at this stage? It's a hard one. Normally you would say it's Cleary, but yeah, this season I think it's a little bit different. Which is funny too, because he is the most traded in player this week. Again, obviously they're playing the Tigers. It wouldn't surprise me if Cleary puts out 150 points and then he's, mass traded in next week, but that's Nathan Cleary. Other than that, in the top 10, I suppose for the ins, we have to mention Blake Brayley, don't we?
Yep.
He's been so freaking good. 702k, so he's gone up 182k off his initial price. He's got a break even of 11. In the last couple of weeks, he's just been going ton. So he got 108 last week against the Roosters, 117 against the Dolphins before that, 48, a mediocre 48 against Melbourne, which is still pretty acceptable, of course. 97 against the Broncos, and then a 102 against the Dragons in 15. So pretty much from round 15 to now, he has become an immortal. and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop. And then going off the numbers you mentioned earlier about the middle defense for the Rabbitohs, Trav, there's a good chance that he does another one.
And the middle defense against the Cowboys, and the middle defense against the Dragons, and then the middle defense against the Titans, and then the middle defense against Newcastle.
Oh
Holy
my God.
moly. Right.
No,
So the
that's
only thing that concerns me about Blake Brayley is that he is literally he is not a dual. He is a hooker that as he should be. That's his role. He has a buy in round 25. And that's just a little bit. We just don't have many trades right now. And I'll be very shocked if these people bring in Blake Brayley in at 702K second hooker. So, yeah, I just be careful because in 25 he does have that buy, and that's not a great time. That's prelim finals for head-to-heads, as well as it's one game where you're not gonna you're having to obviously deal with AEs and things like that, which based off the way teams are built at the moment with the amount of injuries, AEs can start to become a bit of a pain in the ass because we don't have a lot of depth anymore.
Yeah.
So
And
just that's the only negative. It's literally the only negative.
yeah, and it's not that much of a negative, really. If your team's set up to a point where you know that your AE is going to be one of two people and they're going to score you a 30 or 40 or flex out,
Come round
you can,
25, that might be different, but yeah.
of course, well, that's the thing. Everything can change overnight, really, with the teams at the moment. Last week we had Keon and Dino essentially that we weren't considering trading out at all, and now they're gone. So a lot can change between now and then. It's 4 weeks, it's a month away, but yeah, look, you could probably, it's a hard one to predict, but you might be able to get away with running no hooker for that week potentially. You were right in your predictions, Trav. I reckon, calling it early that Brayley is going to finish the year with the most points from now to the end of the season at hooker. He's already about 150 points above everyone else from when you put the post out, so he's got a hell of a head start. Where would you sort of prioritize if you've got like a Watson? I got Watson a couple of weeks ago, and I know a lot of people did. He was the most traded in player. With someone like a Lucas or a Keon trade that's pressing with a couple of outs, moving Watson down into your second row and then prioritizing getting Brayley in over the likes of another front row or elite forward alternative. I'd still go Haas before everyone, but genuinely, I reckon Brayley's probably a very close second.
Either Joel or me.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Joel, if you want to jump in.
Oh, yeah, he's probably second. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a
simple
call.
second. Yeah.
Wild times. The draw's so good.
Payne Haas is the number one. I would prioritize that. And then if you could, and you had those jewels for Watson down, I would 100% be bringing in Blake Brayley. I think Blake Brayley has not just shown that he's got upside, and this is just a short period of time that he can do it. He's going to do it for the rest of this year, 100%. He's just. I think he's locked that in. So, I'd love that. I love that ability to be able to do that.
Yeah. Or even anyone that has Going too. Kalani Going, if you've got him as your backup, or just a hooker jewel. I am gutted this week. I'm 7.5K short from doing that move. I was even thinking, I was trying to do the math on it. The rescores came through, pushed me out of reach a little bit too far from last round, and I was just like, oh man, I would have 100% gone that side and just locked it in, but not to be. As far as outs go, we pretty much covered all the major trade-ins. I think all the significant relevant ones anyway. Trade outs are pretty straightforward. Trade out the injured guys. There's not too much really to think about. Keon, Lucas, obviously a season-ending. Isaiah Ayongi is another guy as well who's been ruled out for, it looks like, was it a month or the season?
4 to 6.
4 to 6. So if you've still got him, he's 647K. He's a very good trade out. So he's a quick one. Valentine Holmes out for the season with that shoulder injury. You've got Pappenhausen, who's still got this calf injury, so there's a very, very good chance he doesn't goal kick on return. I don't think.
I feel for those people that have had to hold Ryan Pappenhausen for 4 weeks.
Well, that's the thing.
So
We've kind of
annoying.
got off him. Yeah,
And
and
I
there was
get
no
why you held him
indication.
because there was no indication. It was just literally just a calf tightness, blah, 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 blah. And it was only last week that he came onto his own podcast and said, no, well, actually, it was a calf strain. I get it. I wanted to hold out too, but yeah, I just ended up trading him off. But for
Yep.
Lomax, actually, I went. But yeah,
Is
just I feel for it.
it's a bit of an off topic, but just quickly, are we getting to an age where we need to have clubs be a bit more honest with this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't get the hiding. Makes no
I
sense.
suppose they're trying to just protect the player from scrutiny. Are they trying to cover
From what?
themselves?
It's an injury.
It's an injury. It is what
Yeah.
it is. It's
Just call a
you've got a
spade a
player
spade.
that's
It's an
gone
injury.
down. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they got to hide it. There's so many clubs that do it too. Like you saw Manly with Turbo's, quad injury or hamstring or that, that fascia or whatever the random little term they called it, which obviously wasn't it. It's just like I don't understand it. It is if a player's injured, they're injured. Just say they'll be back in 4 weeks, and we can just
6.
get on with it.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. I've never understand that kind of stuff. They're just and then it just
The
raises
other
more
thing,
questions.
the other thing that pisses me off, I think I just jumped into you. We're probably going to say this, Jesse, but the other thing that pisses me off is the naming on Tuesday and then the dropping the day before and that. Like just like if you're not going to play them, don't pick them. Like it's just stupid. And I don't even think the teams yeah. There's so many things in the NRL that really piss me off around how they like to hide things and play these silly games that annoy me. I think this needs to be called out. Joel, pub talk, put it in.
Yep, lock that
We'll
topic
do
down.
off-season content.
Yeah, I just think it just makes no bloody sense. Like you put your team list out and that's your team. Don't have this 24-hour shuffle and then an hour before kickoff changing things again. It's not mind games. Everyone reads between the lines pretty quickly now. So, but yeah, there's a lot of outs, obviously. Then there's actually in the 7, 8, 9, and 10, everyone's offloading Roosters players. So Billy Smith, Tedesco, 8th most traded out player overall. Again, it is only 2.2%, but it is on the list. Mark Nawanganita-Wasi with his strong astronomical 159 break even, which is irrelevant at this point of the season. And Sandon Smith, who's actually been named, is being traded out with a 52 break even against Melbourne. So, look, he's I suppose it's borrowed time until Savala's back in the side. He's in the extended as well. So keep an eye out for an hour before kickoff. There's probably a good chance Savala comes into the team.
There's another point, Joel. There you go. But to take it a little bit further, Jesse, in the top 10%, number 1's Keon, number 2's Dylan Lucas, number 3's Pappy, number 4's Tino, number 5 is actually Billy Smith, number 6 is Val Holmes, season-long injury, number 7 is Teddy, then Marky Mark, then Jerome Hughes at number 9, and then DCE.
Yeah. So 355 people. Again, not a great deal for Jerome Hughes, but obviously they're all going to Nathan Cleary. So it's not a lot of people.
At the moment,
in 2 weeks' time, we could. Yeah, at the moment, there's still a lot to change between now and then. Look, it could be a masterstroke. It could be an absolute buckle, and you're thinking, why the hell are you trading out Jerome Hughes after he's doing what he's doing? But that's Supercoach, man. You got to roll the dice. You got to gamble a little bit. Cleary's Cleary is a hard one to ignore. So that's pretty much the piece. Our trades, though, what are we doing? Joel, I'll go to you, man.
I'm in a sticky situation. I mentioned that at the start. I'm getting Payne Haas in, which means I need to make 2 trades to do so. That's okay. I went aggressive last week and got Hudson Young. The week before that, and got Hudson Young, or was it? I don't know when it was, but I got him in. Last week. So I did make 2 trades last week. I thought I made 1, but I must have made 2. I forget who that else was too. But
Lucas Mapawati out.
There you go. Boom. See you later, both of you. So I made that move. I'm happy with how that's looking at the moment, but it has meant that I just didn't save enough coin to just do. I didn't know any of these guys would be injured, but they are now, and it means it's a hard trade to get Haas in one, or it's impossible for me. So I will be going at this rate, Koloamatangi out, and I will also be trading Tino out. I actually don't think he'll be back. I'm going to make a bold prediction now. I don't think it will be. Like they'll be back maybe two weeks to go or something. Titan season will be done and dusted. What's the point of letting him go again and risking further damage?
Agreed.
I actually don't think he'll be back. So I think the only painful thing with him is that 517K, it doesn't let you go to much. So that's where I'm at in terms of thinking a bit pottish, but also thinking which actually allows me to get to Haas with the extra trade. The other
Sorry,
one I'm
before you
thinking
finish,
about,
Joel, how far off are you from going Keon to Haas? Without,
straight,
yeah, how far away are you coin wise?
let me tell you live on air. Sorry, mate. Minus 15K.
Oh, you're so close.
Minus
Oh,
15K. So
okay, sorry,
that is
that's
what it
fun.
is. But so if I was just to go to Tino, I'm looking at trading Tino out to either Cam McInnes, who I actually don't really like because I looked at a pattern at the moment. He played his big game last week minutes wise, and then he normally backs up with 1 or 2 lower minute games. So he's probably due for a couple of those now. So I don't really like that trading, but it does work for me. And the Sharks have a pretty delicious run home apart from that bye. And I also don't mind bringing back my pod last week, and I'm very tempted. Nanai. Cowboys, I reckon, have a very underrated run home. I think a lot of people have overlooked what they've got. I actually think, even though they've been playing quite poorly, I think there's some attack and some points to be scored there. And I think Lukey can do a few of those. And not Lukey, sorry, Nanai can do a few of those. So yeah, I'm not opposed to bringing Nanai in at the moment as a bit of a play. Look, to echo what Travis sort of said, I'm the same. Like, it's all well and good to be in the top 1K. That's all cool, but no one's going to remember being 800th or 600th. Like, I'll just make a play and just see what happens with it. The other one I'm thinking, and bear with me, sorry to take off so much airtime. Call me crazy. Sarko and Marky Mark. There's a little thought for me to get rid of one, free up a little bit of cash and go to a member of a back line where you spoke about already, looking at those runs and getting on someone. And it frees me up some cash, and it also leaves me with a bit of cash to play with moving forward for those last 2 trades that I will have, which after I get through this week, it should be fine. Fingers crossed. Obviously, injuries is a different story, but I get my Dolphin boy back if I do go Osako. But yeah, that's just my thinking behind it. The Dolphins have been scoring remarkably, but they are starting to come into some harder games. They've got the Warriors, Roosters, Broncos, Manly. Both of those games are away. So is the Warriors game. The Titans, which will be easy. That's around 26. And then the Raiders. So they are on a bit of a streak. I did my ladder predictor. I did predict them to just miss out on the 8, so I don't have them winning too many games coming in. And Osaka just keeps avoiding any attacking time. They just seem to go to everyone else bar him. So while he's there, priced at a decent price, I'm trying to think to myself, maybe it's time to say goodbye, make a big play.
Who would you go to?
Don't know yet. I was just live on air thinking. So
Yeah,
let you know.
I feel like center wing, as far as it goes, Lomax, Carraz, Garrick, obviously Mark, Azarko, Herbie, these kind of guys, everyone's got them. If Val Holmes was available, I'd be jumping on Val Holmes, but he's not now. There's very few top center wings. I reckon Gagai's probably a shout, but again, the draw's rough and they got the bye next week. It's just, yeah, I don't know. You've got to sort of go rogue as. But yeah, when you said you have 20K off, my mind instantly went to Nano from Tino because we just spoke about him. He was, not far off him. So I don't mind that play. Even Wilton with the Sharks run, just as
Yes, he was
poddy.
my last one. I forgot to
Yeah,
mention.
just as much of a pod. Scored 91 last week, 24 break even. Second last defense of edges when it comes to the Rabbits too. So yeah, look, man, there's some options at the sub 500. So not too bad. Yeah, Trev.
That's me.
Cool. What am I currently doing? I've got to fix Tino and Kulamatangi. I think Joel's hit the nail on the head. I don't think Tino plays again. He missed last year from ACL. He's played all year. He's had a monster year. He's played big minutes. He's backed up after Origin. Now he's busted that. And he's done, and they're going to finish on the bottom of the ladder. There's no point bringing him for the last 2-3 weeks if they've locked the bottom spot. So you're not playing for anything. So I think he doesn't play. So I've got to fix those 2 holes. I don't necessarily need to fix it this week, but at this point I am. So I've got 4 trades. I had 230K in the bank, so I just went straight Tino to Haas. And so that's lock that in. That gives me the 3 front rowers of May, Taps, and Haas in the front row. And then in the 2RF, I've got Kula Matangi, and I'm going to go, at this point, my trade is Kula Matangi. I don't have enough. It only leaves me 3,000. So it only gives me 628K. So I can't get to Clark as much as I love that. But I can go Kulamattangi to Yo, and then that banks me just under 90K for the last 2 trades, and I'll pretty much be sitting there for the rest of the year biting my nails, hoping no one else is going to get injured. But if they do, I've got 2 trades to fix it and 90K to play with. Sandon Smith getting named this week is good. I actually think Sandon Smith surely plays the rest of this year. I reckon he's just realised that Chad Townsend's not the one. But yeah. That's where I'm sitting. My 2 second row forwards will be sit with Katoa, Fermor, Preston, and then Yo.
Yeah, nice. That's pretty easy. I suppose you got a lot of coin in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sort of makes
Jesse.
you move for you. I have gone Lucas out and Haas in. I just brought Keon, who was in my front row, down into that blank spot. At this stage, it's the only trade that I have done. I have 69K in the bank. Lovely number. I'm not exactly too sure where to go with it as well. So I'm 7.5K short of moving Watson down and getting Brayley, which is just gutting because I was very keen to do that. It does leave me 682K, I believe. 694K, sorry. Pretty much to get any front row or second row, anyone that I want. And I'm 20K short of Hudson Young. If he scores an 85 this week, I will be able to afford him next week if I'm still very interested in him. So I'm considering waiting. Obviously, there's Clark, there's Olakawatu, there's Yo, there's Carrigan, there's all these dudes we've spoken about. I just don't know which way to go about it. Without making the trade, I do have 18. That 18th player is Jed Stewart. Against the Knights, could be all right. He just scored 107, so 103, sorry. So yeah, look, if I have to play him this week, I have to play him, and I'm not worried about it. I've got 4 trades after doing that Haas move as well. So, and then obviously Bradley will potentially be an AE if he actually does play the game. Otherwise, I've got a full 18. My second row is Katoa, Hosking, and Preston. I don't have any other depth in my second row at this stage. Everyone else is either injured or Kane Bradley. So, yeah, I'm not 100%, but obviously, yeah, sitting on Keon, sitting on Tino, that will take up 2 of the 4 trades that I have and 69K in the bank. I'm really not sure. Yo could be on the cards as well, just to free up some of that cash, because I really do like that move, and I do want more Penrith players in. Edwards is there, sweet. I'm probably not going to get Cleary, but if I can at least get a piece of some, Panthers pie, I definitely will. For 530K, it's basically going to bank me 170. I'll have 170 in the bank if I do get Yo. So I don't mind that play at all. Gives you a lot to play with, especially going Tino up to anyone elite as well. But that's the way that I was going to go about it. Had there not been injuries, I might have looked at a Mark trade out this week. Obviously for Val Holmes, if he was still available too. All these things have changed so quickly. I think if you've got a green tick now, it's like welcome to the side and congratulations, you've made the cut. You're still alive. Other than that, not many luxuries. So yeah, I'm sitting on the 1 at the moment. But I don't know. We'll see who comes to me in my sleep and tells me to trade them in. That'll be the cue.
Nice, mate. 4 trades still after that. That's a handy little position to be in. A bit of money.
A little bit of money, yeah. Not a great deal, but enough to sort of get by. Sid v starts. We haven't asked this question in a couple of weeks, but who are the last 4 that you've got?
For me, I've got Teddy because I'm not going to captain or VC him. So I've put him on the bench. I've got Strange I've got Yo and I've got Haas, and I've not playing Smith and Stewart.
Damn, you got options. What a position to be in.
Yeah.
Joel, what about you?
I'm playing Drinky. Stewart, I'll be on Jed Train this week. Watch him get 20. Jerome Hughes, I'm in for him as well. And then I've got Tui Simpkins as well. No, I'm joking. Not playing him this week. Smith is my other option. Not playing him this week. He'll get about 30 minutes. So Haas will be the guy I have as my fourth play.
Is Stewart going to come up against? Is he coming up against Best and Marju? Is he on that edge?
No, he's on the other edge. He's
So
going to be
he'll
on
coming
Dom
against
Young's side.
Dom Young and
Hunt. Is it Fletcher Hunt?
Yeah.
Hunt.
Yeah, Fletcher Hunt.
Hunt will be fullback, won't he? No, Gagai
No.
is.
Gagai's fullback.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't mind that
might not-
matchup, actually. Dom Young's not the greatest defender.
Could be something, but they don't,
And they're at home.
they don't leak a lot. So, yeah, it's fingers crossed. Hey, all aboard the Jed train.
Is that left or right?
Yeah.
That'll be left, won't it?
Yep.
Left. Yeah, he's left wing.
He's left. So you're up against the right, which is Young. Could be anything that. Captaincies.
Looking at his numbers.
Yeah, I am actually. Knights, middle of the pack.
Yes.
Right side of defense.
In the middle.
Yeah, but the thing is that they've only just got
That's
Young as
because
well,
they've-
though, so that might put it off a bit.
And they've lost
And
Gagai.
haven't had Fletcher Hunt in there.
And
Losing
then
Gagai
Gagai's had to
defensively.
move back. Yeah.
It's a big one to lose on that end. So, yeah. Put him in for 2.
VCC, I'm going at the moment a VC on Edwards. And then I've got a C in a. So I'm going to have to operate very quickly with this at the moment. It's a short turnaround, Hines. So
Yeah.
I'll give myself 10 minutes to do it. Hopefully, I'm there
Yep.
making sure I'm watching.
Oh, you'll have more than 10
100%.
minutes. But
You should know by the end of the game.
yeah, good options. I'm tossing up on the Hines one. I think that's a really good play. I'm currently sitting on Drinky against the Dragons for VC and Edwards with the captain and ride that against the Tigers. That's where I'm sitting. But there is a slight temptation to put Edwards to change Edwards to Hines.
Yeah, I'm looking at the VC Edwards into the C Hines. I think it's a standout. He's the most captain player this week. Dylan Edwards in the top 10%. Hines, he's the most popular. Yeah, popular captain, and then Hines is second at 15%. So 23
What's
and 15%.
Drinky sitting at with the VC?
With the VC, Drinky's the most popular VC this week. He's 35%.
At home against the Dragons, I think that's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, Dylan Edwards is 9.6% VC. Herbie Farnworth, funnily enough, at the moment is 9.6 as well. So people haven't changed. But Teddy 7.6 and Josiah Karapani at 4%. So
Really?
people going a bit, in the top
And
10%.
not on Haas. Surely you'd be putting
No.
that on Haas.
Haas is 3.4%. It's strange, isn't it? Reece Walsh 1.8.
I like it.
Nathan
Don't play
Cleary,
safe.
2.5.
Play for glory.
It's very wild, actually. There's a lot of big players that you see a lot. Karaz 1.2, Terrell May 0.7 VC. Obviously, fixtures and stuff make a difference, but for the captaincy side of things, between Edwards at 23%, Hines at 15%, Ruben Garrick's third at 11%, Cleary at 10%, Tedesco at 9.6%.
So I don't like Garrick against the Bulldogs.
No,
I wouldn't be captaining anyone from Manly this weekend against the Bulldogs. I do really like Hughes, and I think Joel summed it up really well this week with the two, with Pappy and Munster out, and then Wishart at the 6. I just really like Hughes' play, so I think that's a really nice VC option there as well for people. But and then the Haas against the Eels. Surely he crosses over at Suncorp on Friday night for at least one try. Unfortunately for the Eels, there's just I get Moses is back, but they've just got so many injuries for him. Unfortunately, it sucks for you, but because I was actually really keen to watch the end of the year with some of your young fellas. But I think Haas is in for could be in for a big one.
Yeah, it seems like it too. Just on Ruben Garrick, his last couple scores against the Dogs have been 132 and 110. Again, this is a different looking Dogs. This is 2024 and 23 when they were whipping boys. So his projected is quite good against them. So he's automatically, I think, by optimize, he's the default captain. But yeah, that's pretty much it, boys. Done and dusted.
That's all she wrote. Done and dusted. I'm about to piss my pants, so I'm out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let us know in the comments all your moves. But let us know what trades you got as well. Please go and join the Legends group. $2.99 per month, cheaper than anyone else out there. Amazing content. We're just opening up some chat groups as well, all across Supercoach, betting, very responsibly, obviously, NRLW, in-game chats, things like that. So, and there's a dedicated one for the new game as well. We're doing some live streaming, things like that, some big comps coming up as well. So plenty of great content in there. You obviously get to ask personalized questions to all of us as well on the go. And yeah, thank you, Trav. Thank you, Jesse. Get better, Trav. Hopefully we are talking to you next when you're sounding a bit better. And we feel for you at the moment. We give you some shit, but we do feel for you. So go and rest up. Good night, everyone. Goodbye. Good morning. Whatever it is. Good luck this weekend. Supercoach.